How's it going, guys? I'm the Roleplay Gamer and I like to party. Welcome to another episode of Spaceship Porn. Today I'd like to discuss what we, as fans of space sims, actually want in a space sim. As the genre starts to make a comeback, and naturally its original definition gets a little muddied, I think it's interesting to actually reflect on what we want. And I use the term we reluctantly, just for simplicity's sake, because I'm fully aware that each one of us probably has a completely different, unique, possibly, desire for or understanding of what a space sim is and what it should be. So I think it can be more or less agreed upon that the original idea of what a space sim is was the whole fight, trade, explore, possibly build concept, if we take into account the X series, and I think we should. You know, that's the way America did it, that's the way Dad did it, and it's worked pretty well so far. And, you know, not to get too, up my own butt about it, because I'm not really into oversimplifying and overanalysis and whatnot. I'm definitely in the camp of, if it's fun, then it's good. You know, we don't have to get too crazy about it. But, you know, while we're at it, we may as well, you know, look into the definitions here. I mean, what makes it a space sim? Those 3 to 4 concepts, the concepts of fighting, trading, exploring, and building. You know, you can set that anywhere. It's not exclusive to the concept of space. It's just you do it in a spaceship and suddenly it's a space sim. So I think it's interesting to look at the X series and compare it to other space sims, you know, before its time. A word of warning for those who aren't familiar with my channel: I'm not old enough to have been into the original era of space sims. I'm only 25 as of the recording of this video. So I think the first space sim that I really put hundreds upon hundreds of hours into was X3 Reunion. But I definitely think the X series has something going for it, in that it allows you to create this huge space empire. And this is the concept that I'm going to hang my hat on here. So what is space as a concept? It's the final frontier, you know, not to be too cheesy about it. So what goes along with that? Staking your claim, you know, perhaps conquering, exploration, absolutely. Ownership, building. Really, it's the ultimate sandbox. And yes, of course, a lot of this depends on the backstory. I mean, is it unexplored space we're talking about? Is it controlled space? I think when it comes to space sims, it tends to straddle the line between the two. But I think going for a really strong analog to like the Old West, but in space, that's where it's at, you know. That's the exciting stuff. And for me, the only misstep for the X series was that the space itself, the sectors, were so limited, because for the most part they were controlled sectors and the technology was holding it back. So it was just these tiny little pockets between jump gates and whatnot, and it didn't give you like full freedom to, I mean, just take over whatever you wanted. Now, recently, with the resurgence of space sims as a genre, we're seeing, at least, you know, up to this point, more focus on exploration. I would say, arguably, the most interesting thing to do currently in Elite Dangerous is explore, especially with the ability to land on planets and whatnot. You will never see everything there is to see in Elite, as far as I'm aware. And same goes for No Man's Sky, assuming that what we've been told up to this point is accurate. No one will ever see the entire universe. I'm not going to comment on Star Citizen at this time because we just don't know how it's going to turn out. It's too far off at this point. So if we circle back past the rambling to my original point, let's just have a look at what is currently available. Elite Dangerous, I don't think it's controversial to say it hasn't turned out well. I mean, it's a really solid base product with not a lot of content. At the moment, where it fails for me personally is it doesn't give you that that sense of ownership. The ships aren't anywhere near customizable enough for my taste. For me, especially, part of that, ownership isn't necessarily taking over sectors of space, having this big space corporation or empire. I don't need that. I'm happy to play solo, but where I want my ownership is in my ship. I want to be able to make my ship unique, make it mine, entirely unlike anyone else's, hence why I said unique. I know I'm reiterating my point here. I'm just trying to stress this concept. I think the best example I can give to hopefully make you understand why this excites me is the Millennium Falcon. It's was a trade ship that was outfitted to be a smuggler, and it can do a bit of combat as well. That's not something I have personally ever seen in a space sim. You've got your trade ships and you use them for trading. You've got your frigates and your battleships and whatnot, and everything fits into a role. I want customization to the point that I can turn a trade ship into a completely capable fighter or smuggler or anything else I want to do. And currently that's not possible in Elite Dangerous for the most part. I mean, it has like a multi-purpose ships or multi-purpose class of ships, but they're multi-purpose. That's their point. They can do kind of anything, but nothing in particular really well. And this leads me to actually spend most of my time in Elite Dangerous swapping ships, really. I actually, this doesn't seem right, but I have the most fun buying new ships and outfitting them, and then testing them, and then finding myself extremely disappointed, and that's when the fun stops. Moving on to Star Citizen for a brief moment, I have read some articles from the devs suggesting that ships will be highly customizable in the way I've just described, but I am in no way sure of this, and I don't think it's anywhere close to being in-game, and the game itself is nowhere near finished to make any kind of judgment on that matter or any other, so let's move on. Finally, we've got No Man's Sky, which, as far as I'm aware, is an extremely specific exploration-focused experience. I mean, you have all the basics: fighting, trading, exploration. There's no building, but you can upgrade your equipment and your ship stats. You can't upgrade how they look, but you can upgrade their stats. So I'm going to count that as a very shallow upgrade feature. Definitely not included within the concept of building, creating your own ships or whatever. From the moment that your ultimate goal within No Man's Sky is to reach the center of the galaxy, it's pretty clear that it's an exploration-focused game. So where does that leave us? For those of us who crave the huge sandbox, customization-stuffed space sim, I'm personally incredibly unsatiated. I mean, oddly enough, now that I think about it, the only game that comes anywhere close to what I'm talking about is maybe EVE Online. And that's not even really a space sim. Now picture this, guys. Imagine if you took the features, like the whole, well, just everything really, the overarching feature set of EVE Online, and stuffed it into the engine and flight mechanics of Elite Dangerous. Now that's a game. Now we're talking. Now, I don't necessarily want my space sims to go down the online route. In fact, I'm not crazy about that, because then you have to rely on others in order to get the full experience, and I don't like that. I want to be able to do things on my own. Unfortunately, I don't see this hypothetical ultimate space sim coming out anytime soon. I mean, it's just impractical. From the moment that, yes, space sims are coming back, but they're by no means a hugely popular genre still. It's just too big of a risk. I mean, the amount of work that would have to go into this thing to give it the feature set of EVE Online and the customization that I crave in my ships, being able to completely change a ship to make it unique to you, it's just too much, and I recognize that. But hopefully the currently available space sims will make the genre popular enough again to warrant such a magnificent masterpiece of a game to be made. Hell, maybe even Elite Dangerous will become this game 20 expansions down the road and several $100s later. So what do you guys think? What do you want from a space sim? What is your ultimate space sim? Hell, is it something that's already out? Are you a die-hard Elite Dangerous fan? Anywho, thank you for listening to me waffle on for the past 10 minutes or so. Don't forget to share your thoughts with me in the comments below. Now I leave you with some reasonably spectacular footage of me coming in way too hot on a landing pad and still landing my Viper safe and sound. Don't forget to gently caress that like button. It needs love like everything does. Taste the game, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.